All right, 3.6, multiply matrices. Oh, no. Okay, I thought I just hit the off button and I was like, no. You're all good. All right, so if A is an n by m matrix and B is a n by p matrix, then the product is A times B, which is going to be an m by p matrix. And so to see that out actually in symbols to make it a little bit easier, we have A times B, and this is a scenario where order does matter, equals AB. So A was an m by n matrix, B was an n by p matrix. So these two middle terms here have to match. So that's why order matters. Those have to match, and then the outer two give you the dimensions of AB. So AB is an m by p matrix. So if you had, let's say matrix A was a 4 by 3 and B was a 3 by 2, then you would have a 4 by 3 and a 3 by 2 getting multiplied by each other. Since these two are the same, the result is going to be of AB is a 4 by 2 matrix. But if you flipped them and you had that A is a 3 by 4 and you had that B is a 2 by 3, when you multiply those together, you have 3 by 4 and 2 by 3. These middle terms are not the same, so it is not defined. Should you happen to attempt on your calculator to multiply two matrices that when you check them wouldn't work, it is going to say something like invalid dimension, something like INVDIM or something like that is what your calculator will say if you attempt to multiply something that cannot be multiplied together. Oftentimes people come up and it'll be a problem where I'll be like, you can use your calculator, but anyways, they will come up to me and they'll be like, this problem is not working. I'm putting everything in my calculator right, and it's not working. It keeps saying invalid dimensions. And I look at them and I'm like, think about what you just said. And they're like, oh. So if that happens, that's why. Now, I would always go back and make sure you have everything typed in correctly. But the first thing I do, even when I'm doing a calculator problem, is to write this out right here. This 3 by 4 and 2 by 3. And I will show you if they're not the same or if they are the same, to verify, like, we can do it. Now, eventually I get to the point where I'm just like, I will just look at it and just mentally decide. But I would say on a test or quiz, tell me that you've checked it so that you're not sitting there if you go to do one by hand that doesn't work. Kind of awkward because that was a good one. All right, so the actual multiplication part of matrices is a little bit interesting. Once you know the pattern, it's not hard, but it takes a little bit initially. So we have matrix A and matrix B. They're both going to be 2 by 2. So got A, B, C, D times the other one, E, F, G, H. So again, always going to check. I've got a 2 by 2 and a 2 by 2. Middle are the same. So my result is going to be a 2 by 2. So it's when we actually have numbers, it's going to be about 2 steps for you to actually do this, to put the stuff where it's supposed to be and then simplify, and you do need to show me both steps. So this first step would be show me what was multiplied, and then the last one would be combining things to simplify it down. So when we multiply, you multiply this times this. So you get A times E, so it's the first thing in this one times the first thing in this one, plus the first thing in this one, or sorry, the second thing in this one times the second thing in this one. Then the next one to the next spot up here is first row, second column. So it'll be here and here. So it'll be A times F plus B times H. Then we come down to the next one. So this spot right here, you've the CD and the EG is what's going to do it. So it's going to be the first one and the first one. So C times E plus D times G. And then you'll have this one and this one. I guess I should have probably color-coded them, but minor details. C times F plus D times H. I'll just do this. This one was the green circle, this one was the yellow circle, since I didn't color-code them. So the thing that you can do to go back and check after you've done that to make sure that you multiplied everything correctly, because it is a weird pattern, you can say in the top row, the first thing, or well, in the rows, the first thing that you have written should be these. So it should be like A, B, A, B. Okay, and then with the bottom one, C, D, C, D. Then the other letters should be stacked on top of each other. So E should be on top of each other, G is on top of each other, F's on top of each other, H is on top of each other. Okay, now obviously those are going to be numbers. And when I do numbers, I'm going to put parentheses around every single thing that I'm multiplying to help. Okay, so then at this point, you'd have numbers. You can just, in one step, go to the next thing. But I want to see this written out like this initially. Okay, and then if you can simplify it, that's fine. Some of these problems you will be allowed to just, like, do in your head, and some of them or not in your head, on your calculator. Other ones you'll have to do by hand. That's what I was trying to say. All right, so let's look at some examples. So the first one just says to state whether the product AB is defined, and if so, give the dimensions. So this is just saying, like, yes, it is, or no, it is not. So number 4. We have matrix A is a 3 by 4 and matrix B is a 4 by 2. So we've got a 3 by 4 and a 4 by 2. So the middle terms, they're the same. So my result is a 3 by 2. If instead I flipped it, because this is A times B, if instead I flipped it to be B times A, I would have, now this is not part of the problem, but there's not a not defined one in this section, so it just makes more sense to do this. So if I flipped it, I have a 4 by 2 and a 3 by 4. Middle two are not the same, so it is not defined. Any questions about how we decide if it's defined or not? We're okay on that part? Okay, cool. All right, so then the next one, we're actually going to get into the multiplication. We're finding the product. Again, if it's not defined, we're just going to say that it's not defined. So number 10, we've got 3, -1 in the first one, and then the other one is stacked on top of each other. It's 5, 7. So rows then columns. So I've got 1 row, 2 columns. So this is a 1 by 2. The other one is 2 rows, 1 column. So it's a 2 by 1. Those two are the same. So my result is a 1 by 1. So I still do the same thing. 3 times 5, so it's the first one and the first one. So 3 times 5 plus -1 times 7, so the second things. So that's going to be 15 plus -7, so 15 minus 7 is 8. So it is just the 1 by 1 matrix 8. All right, 12. I've got -1, 0, 5, 4, and 4, -6. So what is this matrix? Like, yep, 2 by 2. And what is this one? 1 by 2. So can I do this one? Nope. Not the same, so it is not defined. Let's see, 14. I've got 5, 0, -4, 1, multiplied by -3, 2, 6, 2. All right, so what are these both?
2 by 2.
Both 2 by 2. So middle terms are the same, so I'm going to get a 2 by 2 as my result. So what do I multiply here to put in the first one?
5 times -3.
Yep.
Plus -4 times 2.
Yep.
Or 0 times 6.
Yep. And the zeros are the one where I'll give you the exception if you just want to write 0 there, that's fine. But anyways, I'm going to write them all out for right now so that when you go back you can see. All right, what's in the second spot here?
5 times 0 plus.
Nope.
Or 5 times 2. Oh my goodness. I'm messing up.
It's okay. It takes a while, honestly, to get it.
0 times 2.
Yep.
Yeah. I literally looked at it right before I said that too. That's a lot.
All right, bottom left.
Negative 4 times negative 3.
Okay.
So 1 times 6.
Yep. And bottom right.
Negative 4 times 2
Yep.
plus 1 times 2.
Yep. And you can always make sure again because the second term in each thing should line up. So if they don't line up, something's wrong. And then the first terms in each of the rows for each of the terms should be the same. So that's another thing you can check. So then simplifying it down, what goes in each spot? What goes top left? Or what does that simplify to?
Negative 5.
Negative 15.
What's 0 times 6?
Oh.
What?
Oh my gosh. 0. Negative 15. I forgot about that.
Negative 15. What goes in this one?
10.
10. Down here.
Do you want us to just add them together?
Yes.
Negative 6.
Yeah, if you need to have an intermediate step of actually writing out like that, you know, this is negative 15 plus 0 and whatever, you can, but you don't have to have that. All right, the next one I'm going to have you try on your own, and then we'll go over it. So it'll still be a 2x2. This is actually, the problem in the book is actually one of those, like, describe the error in solving. So anyways, we've got the matrix 2, 5, 1, 7. And the other one is 4, negative 8, 3, negative 1.
Do we have to write the thing that says like 2x2, 2x2?
I would, just to get in the habit of it, even though, I mean, this is what I would do. I would just do something like this, and then I would just draw that you've checked it.
Okay.
That just indicates that you've seen that they're the same. And, you know, if they're not, then you're just writing not defined. And I say that purely out of the fact that there's a lot of people that'll come up and be like, it's not working. I know it's not working. It's not supposed to work. Like, did you check it? Oh. All right. Can we get an answer? What do we get going across?
23, -21, 25, -15.
Everybody agree?
Yes.
I didn't get that far. I messed up halfway through and I was like, eh.
So I wrote the intermediate step so that y'all could see what I was talking about. If you feel like you need to write that step, and I will say that this is the most common time that when I personally make a mistake and that I see other people make a mistake is when they start doing stuff like this 5 times -1. If they try to do it in their head, myself included, I actually wrote -6 to begin with. Because it's like something about, even though it's multiplication, it like does not register when there's that negative sign and people start adding them together. I mean, I've even seen 3 times 2 equals 5 because it just doesn't register the way that it's written. So if you feel like you need to write it out, you can. If you're like, nah, I'm good, I don't need to, then also completely fine. So all right, I'm going to backtrack one problem, or one even problem, to number 18, just for a minute. Got 2, 5, -1, 4, 3, -7. And then I've got 0, 1, 5, -3, 10, -4. All right, so what are my dimensions of this one?
2 by 3. 3 by 2.
3 by 2. Now what's the other one?
2 by 3.
Yep.
I have a question. So is it columns by rows?
Rows and columns. 1, 2, 3 rows, 1, 2 columns.
I thought the columns were vertical and rows were horizontal.
They are. Rows go across like in chapel. Columns go up and down like the columns out there at the youth house.
Oh, I was thinking of how many numbers were in the column and in the row.
No.
Yeah.
I'm so confused.
Well, I'm not confused anymore.
Well, good.
All right, so what is my result going to be?
3 by
3 by 3. So, I'm just going to go ahead and make this really big.
3. Oh my gosh.
All right, so first row, first column. So I've got 2 times 0 plus 5 times -3. Then I've got first row, second column. So I've got 2 times 1 plus 5 times 10. Then I've got first row, third column, 2 times 5 plus 5 times -4. And then I do it all over again. Second row, first column, so I've got -1 times 0 plus 4 times -3. Second row, second column, -1 times 1 plus 4 times 10. Second row, third column, got -1 times 5 plus 4 times -4. Then I've got, oops, too far. Third row, first column, so I've got 3 times 0 plus -7 times -3. Third row, second column, 3 times 1 plus -7 times 10. And finally, third row, third column, 3 times 5 plus -7 times -4. Now, would you want to do that super often? Well, the good news is, other than this situation right here, you'll get to use a calculator for this problem. Okay, I'm not even going to go through and on my own add that up. I'm just going to leave it, and I'm going to show you how to do it on your calculator. So you're going to type these two matrices into A and B, just like we did yesterday.
Yeah, my calculator's charged.
So while you're typing those in, again, I would say when you're going to do it on your calculator, you need to show me that you're multiplying like matrix A times matrix B. Okay, like show me that you're calling this one A and this one B. And just FYI, you do not have to put like the multiplication symbol between the two matrices when you do to type them in your calculator, if you didn't figure that out already. So I said, you know, you can use your calculator for these ones like this, whatever. Sometimes I will offer extra credit for solving one out like this by hand as well. So now your calculator would be on like the calculator portion of the quiz or the test, and then it would say like 1 bonus point or 2 bonus points depending on how hard it is, for also solving it by hand. Sometimes it amazes me how few people take advantage of that. It's like if you know the pattern to do a 2x2, you know the pattern to do all of them, but it's fine. So, any questions about that? Are we okay on the calculator stuff? Everybody got it? Cool. So one more that we're gonna do, and this would be a calculator section, if you were doing it, number 22 through 29 These ones, again, give you all the matrices. I'm only going to write out the ones that we're about to use in the next problem. But, again, you could store them all. It'll be A, B, C, D, and E. So if you want to get that ready or whatever. Matrix A is the matrix 5, -3, -2, 4. Matrix B is 0, 1, 4, -2. And C is -6, 3, 4, and 1. So those are the only ones that we're going to use. There is a D and an E that you'll have in the homework, but and we're going to do number 24, which is A times B plus A times C. Now, again, I would at least at a quick glance, you don't necessarily have to write them out because you do not need to go through and write out, like, you know, this whole matrix times this whole matrix plus this matrix times this matrix. Like, you don't actually need to write that out. This is sufficient here. And I will know that you're doing these ones on your calculator. Where was I going with that? There's something I was about to say. I don't know. It'll come back to me eventually. You can go ahead and put all of those in your calculator. And when it comes back to me, I'll let you know. Now, before you do well, technically speaking, you probably can just enter this in exactly and it will give it to you. But I am going to show you in the event that that doesn't work or something, how you can actually save the matrix that you found to be this. So let me take this away for just a second. No, I have not multiplied them, so ignore what's on my calculator. It is not right. Okay. So you can do, so I'm going to do, it's A times B is the first one. So second matrix A times second matrix B. So I've got A times B. I hit enter and there it is. So that I wouldn't have to go type it in again. Let's say if I did decide to do them separate. There's this button down here at the bottom that says STO and it has a little arrow with it. If you hit that, that says answer and that means store. Okay, and then you hit your second matrix. You can go down and choose one. So since I'm going to ultimately need D and E, I'm going to just put it in F for right now. So I'm going to store my answer in matrix F. So now if you go on your calculator and just hit second matrix in the letter F, it's going to bring it up for you. So instead, I have replaced that as matrix F, and then I could do the same thing with the other one. Now, it should work to where if you just do matrix A times matrix B plus matrix A times matrix C, that it should still give it to you because your calculator, despite the fact that it's not always smarter, it does occasionally have moments of being smart, and so it should be able to do it. But if you're like, no, I want to do it the other way, that's fine too. So anyways, so that would be your answer.
Can I go to the bathroom?
Yes, I'm just getting ready to sign homework is all that's left, so that's fine. -54, 23, 44, and -12.
You were saying those for
No, I was just writing down the answer. All right, so I'm going to give you problems to do by hand and ones that can be done on a calculator. So 3, 7, 11, and 13 are by hand. 17, 23, 25, and 27 are on a calculator. And